Hey, good morning, everybody. So we're sitting down to a nice little breakfast here over at Metafizzle. Today we are guest of the Reverend Lisa Maya, who is a energy healer. Something that is very, very interesting to us here at Metafizzle. She is one of the folks who we're going to be having breakfast with. And we're probably going to do a series of breakfasts with some key people who have a deep understanding of metaphysics and can also have the opportunity to offer us a little bit more of an understanding of metaphysics, but also help us to find resources. Metafizzle is all about helping the metaphysicians find resources out there. So we want to make sure that we're bringing you good folks who you can connect with, as well as having some of those folks offer resources and information, whether it's a book, whether it's a movie, anything that starts to advance your knowledge of metaphysics in a positive direction. So today, again, our guest is Reverend Lisa Maya. She is an ordained minister, has been studying metaphysics for a good portion of her life. I won't do her background justice, so I will ask her to give us a little bit of information about herself. And let's start off with who you are and why metaphysics.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be with Metafizzle.
Love the way you say it. Metafizzle.
Woo! I have been an ordained minister for now over 12 years. I started off in the non-denominational, more like holiness, Pentecostal tradition. And in that tradition, they do a lot of energy work. They may not use that terminology, but I have been at the altar where I've laid hands on folks and blown on them, and they've fallen out from the energy within us agreeing. So I've been doing it for quite some time, and then I moved into massage therapy. And massage therapy really moved me into really looking at energy work and the different types, and I became a Reiki 2 specialist. And then I also started expanding my knowledge of the Bible and what metaphysics was, New Thought Christianity. All these different things became new to me and alive, and I was just eating it up. And then eventually, about 5 years ago, I went to One God, One Thought Center for Better Living, so that I could really immerse myself into a lifestyle of it with other like-minded. Because I was already trying to immerse myself, but not being around like-minded people as far as that understanding. It was so nice to feel like, oh, I found a place where I can be me and express myself and my thoughts and really look deeper into what spiritual laws were.
And so, I don't want to interrupt you. I also want to give you some time to eat some of this yummy food that you prepared for us.
Thank you.
Did a fabulous job on breakfast, by the way. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Wanted to just find out from you. So you were saying that sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to really find resources. I noticed that you said that you wanted to immerse yourself a little bit deeper into it, but, what did that mean for you when you wanted to immerse yourself deeper? Did that mean you wanted to read a book about it? Did you want to, watch a movie about it? How did you decide that you wanted to go deeper, and how did you find the resource?
Well, as I studied the scriptures more and more, Jesus said that, greater works that we would do, and that just like him, we were supposed to do things just like he did. So that meant we were more than just disciples of him, that he was a way shower. And so as I started looking deeper into that, what did it mean to be a way shower? And as I grew within the congregation I was with, I was always the one who I just really spiritualized a lot of things, really took it to another level. And sometimes I might have looked different to them. But they loved me, but they didn't we couldn't have the conversations about the scriptures and about God in general, because to me, Christianity is just a vehicle that I use for my spirituality. And I realized as I was growing that there were more vehicles to utilize for your spirituality. But you're spiritual because you are spirit first anyway. And as I started getting that and unfolding, I wanted to be around more people of like mind who got that understanding, who could see it the way that I do, even though we may have come from that Christian vehicle that have maybe, but that has the flavor of Christianity, yet it's still metaphysical, and yet it's still New Thought. So I was very happy to move to One God, One Thought Center. Maya was my daughter. She was 3 at the time, she had to be potty trained as well to get into unless you want to be with your child during Sunday school. But I wanted to be fed. I wanted to be able to sit down. So we had to wait till she was at the age that we could easily put her in the classes so she can learn metaphysics right along as we're in the services too. And
so let me get this right. Your daughter is learning to be a metaphysician at the tender age of 7, 8 years old?
Yes, she's going to be 8, and she's been there since she was 3.
That's wonderful.
And all she knows is metaphysics. I mean, she knows of Jesus Christ, but she knows somewhat that he died on the cross, but not in the same way that the understanding from a traditional matter. She knows that Jesus died, but she's not attached to he had to die for my sins or any of that type of understanding.
Okay.
She has none of that. She knows that God is in her, around her, and through her. She understands the principles.
So she's starting at a young age to get a good grasp of universal principles and laws.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. I often think that if I had been a child and had this exposure to metaphysics at a very young age, I would be a lot farther along in some of my understanding of not just certain things in the world, but I think even of myself. And I think as human beings, we want to understand ourselves a lot better, and we want to understand other human beings a lot better. And so I've found through metaphysics, it gives you a deeper understanding sometimes of not just others, but also of ourselves. Right. So it's beautiful that she would be able to grow up with this type of influence on her life, really giving her the option to choose. And so what I'm hearing from you is that your path that you use, like you were saying, is more Christian metaphysics, with an understanding of Christianity, but really focusing on the metaphysical interpretation of it and the underlying universal laws and principles that, are espoused both in the Bible and in other texts.
Yes.
Okay.
That's very true, because that's my background. I grew up a Christian. I started off Baptist, and I moved along until I got to, like I said, the Pentecostal non-denominational, until I came here. So
you didn't have to give up Christianity to be a metaphysician?
Not at all. Not at all. Now, there are some concepts that I had to give up. And it took me a moment, because when I first heard the concept about Jesus and giving the idea of him as Savior, or that he was the only Son of God, it took me a moment because I had been immersed in that theology. And so, but as I grew and understood more and I learned history and how the Bible was put together, it began to open up my understanding. So I realized I adore Jesus Christ, because Jesus showed me the way. If I follow the things that Jesus did, the way that he taught his understanding, and look at the red words in the Bible, there are certain spiritual principles and laws that he's teaching.
Yes.
And when I learn about other ways of looking at God, or other mythologies, other religions, it enhances those words. So I'm like, oh, that's what he was talking about. And so for me, I realized that I am also a way shower, that I am Christ, that I am God. Just like a cup, if you take a cup of water and from the ocean, that ocean water in that cup is no different than the ocean water that is in the ocean. It's just the amount.
And I like the way that you describe that. That's a really good analogy to use to describe it. So, and I don't want us to get too far off the mark, because as you know, with metaphysics, we can go this way, we can go that way, and we can have some very, very deep conversations. So I'm going to bring us back a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit about, or a lot actually, about energy healing and the work that you do as an energy healer. And just starting off with maybe helping people understand what is energy healing.
Okay. Before we even get into what energy healing is, I have to say we have to talk about what is energy.
And that's fine. Let's talk about it.
Energy is what everything is. At your lowest common denominator, when you get to the atom, that atom, even below the cells, an atom, that's energy. That's a movement that's going on. That same movement is throughout the universe. That same energy flows through everything. There is not a place where that energy is not. Therefore, I label that energy as God. Some call it chi, like in Chinese medicine. But it's this universal energy that flows through every single being, every single thing, every space, things that we don't even see. It is there. And the understanding with healing is a right that we all have to be healthy, first off.
I like how you say that. Yeah, and why do you call it a right?
It's like a law. It is. It a law. A law is what it is. It's unchangeable. It's principle, and you stand on it. And I stand on the fact that we are all healthy. We may not always demonstrate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the physical. You know, we might be demonstrating a runny nose or fever, but we are always healthy. So when we say I am refers to that God part of us. So when we attach I am sick, it's a contradiction. It doesn't even exist because I am is never sick.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard people describe it as your true self is never sick.
Yes.
Your true self is always healthy.
Yes.
So when you say I am, you're talking only about that human portion of you that believes
right.
that you are sick, that you're manifesting something. And granted, we're both human and spirit. And so with that, yes, we're all one in terms of who we are, but it doesn't mean that we have to own the fact that we're unhealthy in some way, shape, or form
right.
by believing that. Because our true self, again, is always health and always demonstrating health.
Yes.
You know? It's just this outer portion, you know, that makes
the outer portion, right. Because in New Thought Christianity, as well as traditional Christianity, we believe that we're a threefold being.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that sticks out for me with New Thought Christianity that really made the shift was that we are spirit, soul, and body. In most occasions, you may hear, especially in tradition, that we are body, soul, and spirit. So when you put the body first, then that means that the spirit is third. It's not that. That's not true. We are spirit first. Always have been, always will be. That is everlasting.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal is our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
From there.
So talk to me about, how do folks get in touch with you? What is the best way to reach out to you? Should they reach you through mental channels? Should they pick up the phone? Do you have a website? That's what everybody wants to know.
I have a website. It's www.lisamayaministries.com, and it'll be flowing through so that you can see it, because it is a long name. Or you can also Google me, Reverend Lisa Maya, and you'll see it come up. Now, when you get to my website, there's a contact page, and you can contact me through that way.
That's perfect. Again, we're about finding the resources, giving the resources, but one of the most beautiful things that I think that you've given us today is just peace of mind that there are other people out there who are studying metaphysics, who are serious about their study of metaphysics. And it doesn't matter the context or the clothing that is in, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Judaism, whatever the outer is not what's most important. What's most important are the principles, the laws, the love that is in what we're doing and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you being here. I send you love and light
Thank you.
endlessly. You've been a good friend of Metafizzle.